Okay, hello. We're looking at our foldable, first of all, here, one-step equations using multiplication division. This is the second page. We're going to look at that first. And here's how we want to start it. We want to start by identifying what are inverses of each other. So it's kind of like with the adding and subtracting. We always did the opposite. We'll do the same thing here. So we're going to put inverse of multiplication is division. And you can abbreviate like I am. Zoom in a little bit for you. I'm going to put the inverse of division is multiplication. So that's first. Okay. Now we just have two examples. And remember, you can use this foldable on quizzes and maybe even the test. I haven't said about the test yet, but so it's in your best interest to make it nice. Okay. Here's our first example. We have 3 times x equals 24. Now I have a separate color, so I'm going to use a separate color for this. You might not have one, but so first of all, we ask ourselves, well, what's the operation here? It's timesing. So what's the opposite, the inverse of timesing? Look up here. It's to divide. Now here's how we divide. We put a little slash over there. But if we divide the left side by 3, man, that's a long bell. We divide the right side by 3. Now what happens when we have, look on the left here, when we have a 3 on top and 3 on the bottom? What happens to those 3's? If they're identical, top and bottom, they cancel. That's actually our point, the purpose of doing this. We want to get the variable by itself. So what's left over here? Well, the 3's cancel, so all that's left is the x. Well, how about the right side? Well, we want to simplify it. So we know what 24 divided by 3 is, right? 24 divided by 3 is 8. So we get our answer and we circle it or box it in or whatever it is we need to do. Example 2 we're going to look at now. A little bit more complicated. M over 5 equals 7. Now we're going to follow those, oops, it's a little low for you, isn't it? We're going to follow those same steps. Okay. So first of all, we say, well, what's going on? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. This is dividing. Well, what's the inverse of dividing is to multiply. So I know I'm going to multiply both sides by something. And we're going to multiply both sides by 5. Remember, your goal is to get the variable by itself. But if I times the left by 5, I got to times the right by 5. See that times symbol? Now what happens if you have a 5 in the top and 5 in the bottom? Just like last time, they cancel, top and bottom, right? Now if they cancel, what's left over there is just the m. That's what we want. We want to get the variable all by itself. How about on the right side? What's 7 times 5 is 35. And there's our answer. So that's it for the foldable. I'll give you a minute to wrap that up, and then to go ahead and put that away. And then we're going to do a couple of examples together, kind of like yesterday, a couple examples together. And again, I have the benefit of having 2 colors, which you may not have. But look at the first one on here, 5m equals 10. Now this one you might notice, well, there's no symbol. What is it? Plus, minus, times, divide? Well, 5m really means 5 times m. And hopefully you learned that last year. So what's the opposite of timesing is to divide. So we want to divide both sides by 5. But if you divide the left by 5, you have to divide the right by 5. What happens to these two? They cancel out. So what's left is an m on the left side. On the right, what's 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now you probably should check your answer. Here's how you check your answer. You take that 2, and you plug it in for m. So it's 5 times 2, 10. Yes. And again, if you can do this in your head, great. But I do need you to show that one step of work in there too. How about this next one? We'll slide it over. 2k equals 6. Well, what is this going on? That's 2 times k, right? So what's the opposite of timesing? Is to divide. So we want to divide by 2. But we have to do the same thing to both sides. We got to keep it balanced. Now if we do, these cancel. We get k left, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So go ahead and try some of these other ones. Make sure you've got it. And then we're going to flip over. We're going to try some of the division problems. So here's the division side. It says at the top, one-step equations, division. See that? Now look at the first one. Give you a second to find it. It's x over 2 equals 5. Now again, start by asking yourself, what's going on? What's the operation? It's division. We have to know that that means division. What's the inverse of division is 2 times. So we're going to times both sides by 2. I'm outside of the box, but that's okay. Now we got to times the other side by 2 also. Notice they always match, left and right. So what happens to these 2's? They cancel. And we get x is left, and we get 10. Probably should circle it. Don't forget, maybe plug it in, check it, see if it works. Now flip over here. Here I'm going to make a few mistakes. I'm going to see if you're paying attention. So the first thing is, what is going on is we have division, right? Now that's not the mistake. So what's the opposite of division? It's to times. So here's what I'll see some people do. They'll times by 7. Is that right? No. Why not? Well, because if you have a 7 over here and a 3 over here, do those 7's cancel? Is there one on the top and one on the bottom? No. One's a 7, one's a 3. They can't cancel. Now here we could do something, but it doesn't help us on the left. So let's scratch that idea. Let's try something else. Let's try timesing by 3. Now here's another thing people say. They'll get times by 3 and they'll say, oh, the 3's cancel. And I have h. They'll say h equals 7. Is that right? No, because what are we missing? We have to put a times by 3 on the other side. And we get 21. Don't just put 21 down. Okay, make sure you follow those steps. Let's do a couple. Now, if you're getting this and you think that you're doing okay, go ahead and move on. Find something a little bit tougher to do. Go ahead and work on some of these. But we're going to go to the very back page and do some of the negative ones. Because this is the hardest page on here. It gets harder towards the back. I'm going to pick the first one. Okay, see, it's 7a equals negative 84. So that means 7 times a. The opposite of timesing is to divide. We're going to divide by 7. We got to do it to both sides. The two 7's over here cancel out, and all we're left with is a. 84 divided by 7, ooh, I think it's 12. But here's the trick. We have a negative. When you had a negative divided by a positive, we always got a negative. How about this one? Now this is 2 down, see it? Find it first. Negative 3m equals negative 45. It's the third column. That's timesing by negative 3. So the opposite of timesing is to divide. We're going to divide by, here's one mistake I'll see people make. They'll divide by 3. That's not quite right. What are we missing? The negative sign. So the two negatives cancel. We get m. And 45 divided by 3 is 15. But the two negatives make it a positive 15. Well, good. Hopefully that helps you a bit. Finish this worksheet up. If you get that done, there's a website I want you to go on. It involves kind of balancing these equations, but it uses a little animation thing with it. So, good. Hopefully that helps you.